Welcome to today's video where we're going to dive deep into my portfolio and see how much I made in dividends in July and the progress made over the past month towards my goal of early retirement. If you yourself are a dividend investor and you're looking for motivation, ideas, and education, go ahead and click that subscribe button.
Oh, there it is.
What? My content includes monthly updates from my own portfolio, top stocks to review each week, and even interviews with others in the dividend investing space so you can become the best dividend investor you can be. With that being said, let's dive right into my taxable account that I'll use to retire early. Over here on Fidelity, you can see my 11 holdings on the left side of the screen, and with this handy little chart, you'll be able to see how this account balance has grown so far this year. Beginning the year, the account balance was $25,131.92. Concluding last month, my account balance was sitting at $41,491.20. And now, concluding July, my account balance now sits at $44,552.15. Some quick reminders on this account. As I mentioned in some of my more recent monthly recaps, $7,000 of that account balance is my emergency fund that is held in SPAXX, which is now collecting the current 4.91% interest. This is because the interest rate at my bank was borderline disrespectful, so I decided a few months back to move that money to this position with Fidelity, and my only regret is that I didn't do it sooner. Also, the growth of this account so far this year only really began in April, as that is when I finished maxing out my Roth IRA, so the rest of this year will have some exciting stuff to follow in this account as we work towards that goal of financial independence. With that being said, as of August 7th, the day this video goes live, I will be adding $1,469.65 in investable money to this account to spend for the rest of August. In combination with the slight remaining cash I had in this account, my total investable amount in August will be $1,527.88. Next, let's review the biggest winners in this account. My best performer in this account is ExxonMobil, that's up 35% or $933.41. My second best performer is Apple, that's up 23.63% or $866.58. And then we have a newcomer rounding out the top three with Illinois Toolworks, that's up 18.23% or $486.31. Now, with me being fully transparent here on the channel, I also want to show you my three biggest losers in this account. My worst performer is currently NextEra Energy, that's down 7.64% or $203.60. My second biggest loser is actually in the green with Pool Corp, and if you have been following along, you know that this one has made an impressive comeback and is now up 2.94% or $97.99. And then my third worst performing stock is Starbucks, and that is up 4.48% or $149.38. Lastly, let's look down here at the bottom of the screenshot to see that this account is now up 12.57% or $4,190.78 versus just 1 month ago when I was up 8.17% or $2,602.93, and that's pretty good progress in just the last 30 days. All right, next, let's check to see how this account stacks up versus the three major indexes. On this screenshot, you'll be able to see two different rates of return, time-weighted and money-weighted. Simply put, the time-weighted is best used if there is no money going in or out of the account, while the money-weighted is best used if there is. Since money is now being added to the account, the money-weighted best fits my situation. You can see that I have a year-to-date return of 18.48%, and that is being slightly outperformed by the S&P 500 and massively outperformed by the tech-heavy NASDAQ to this point in the year. Next, let's head over to my dividend tracking spreadsheet to check out my buys for this past month. July marks the third full month that I was adding to this account in 2023. Here you can see what I bought, how much I spent, the average cost of each purchase, and how much it added in forward income. The most I spent was $162.23 on Microsoft. The biggest share increase goes to NextEra Energy, where I added 1.638 shares, and APD had the biggest bump in forward income with $5.89. In total, I was able to spend $1,459.18 on 8.549 shares over the span of 16 trading days in July, which results in $33.47 in added forward income. Next, let's see what that does to the share counts in this account. Beginning 2023, this account had a total of 167.947 total shares, or an average of 15.267 shares per holding. Concluding June, this same account had a total of 202.233 shares, or an average of 18.384 shares per holding. And now, at the close of July, I'm now sitting at 210.782 total shares, or 19.162 average shares per holding. You can see the growth of this account over the first half of the year, and that's only with funds being added over the past 3 months. Make sure you're subscribed and tune in each month to track the exciting progress of this account from this point forward. Next, let's look at the current yield and changes to the cost basis of the positions in this account. My yield on cost for this portfolio is now sitting at 2.03%, which is down from the 2.04% from June due to the positive momentum of my portfolio as a whole over the past month. Now, I wanted to outline the changes in cost basis over the past month. Here, you can see that my largest increase in cost basis is with Costco going from $497.45 per share to $499.66 per share, while my largest decrease in cost basis goes to Next Era Energy that went from $79.74 per share to $79.36 per share. Remember, in this case, an increase in cost basis is not the desired outcome, but as your current holdings become worth more money over time, they cost more than they used to. Next, I wanted to show you the projected annual income for this account. Beginning 2023, I had a yearly projection of $494.51, which comes out to $41.21 per month or $1.35 per day. As of the end of June, those numbers went to a yearly projection of $649.78, which is $54.15 per month or $1.78 per day. And now, concluding July, I'm sitting at projections of $677.05 for the year, which comes to $56.42 per month or $1.85 per day. Next, let's see who paid me in July and how much I made in passive income. In total, I received one dividend payment and one interest payment. On July 13th, I received $15.08 from Illinois Toolworks that was dripped, getting me 0.06 free shares. On July 31st, I received $30.59 as an interest payment on the cash sitting in the account. Overall, January, April, July, and October are my slowest months in terms of dividend income, but while the frequency of times I got paid might not be exciting, let's total those amounts up and look at the year-over-year growth from the generated income of this account. Here, I like to check to see how the growth of my income is going when compared to itself. July of 2020 was only my third month in my journey, and I made $2.69. Then, in July of 2021, that bumped to $5.48, which represented a 103.7% year-over-year increase. The following year, in July of 2022, I kept making slow but steady progress up to $6.74, which was a 23% year-over-year increase, which brings us to July of 2023, where I made a very exciting jump to $45.67, which is up a whopping 577.6% from just 12 months ago. As mentioned earlier, this is for sure one of my slowest months, but the rest of Q3 will be off to the races. If you look up here, you can see that in May, I made $101.96, which will be my number to beat for August, so make sure you come back to see if we can keep this 2023 progress going. Next, let's touch on the account that received all the attention to begin the year in my Roth IRA. Looking here, you can see all 7 of the holdings in this account over here on the left side of the screen. Beginning the year, the account balance was sitting at $46,616.47. Concluding June, that bumped to $59,353.34. And now, concluding July, my account balance now sits at $61,335.75. Some reminders on this account for the rest of the year. This account was actually maxed out at the $6,500 limit on April 20th, so nothing else can be added to this account for the remainder of the year. The remaining cash in this account, $11.27 to be exact, I will keep in there to generate some kind of interest for the remainder of the year, since the holdings in this account only pay out in March, June, September, and December. Obviously, this won't be much at all, but it'll make me feel better about myself seeing small amounts of money every month. Next, let's dive into the biggest winners in this account. My best performer in this account is still Tesla, that's up 51.48% or $2,789.11. My second best performer is QQQM, that is up 18.59% or $1,007.24. And rounding out the top 3, we have VOO, that's up 12.41% or $2,690.87. Now, let's see the flip side of the coin with my biggest losers. My worst performer is QQQJ, that is making a comeback but is still down 0.74% or $39.81. And just like my taxable account, my second biggest loser is actually in the green, and that is VNQ, that is up 0.64% or $34.71. And my third lowest performing holding is crowd favorite SCHD, that's up 3.69% or $199.91. Honorable mention to SPYG, who is holding the middle ground outside the top and bottom three, that is up 8.57% or $464.82. Lastly, let's look down here at the bottom of the screenshot to see that this account is now up 13.19% or $7,146.85 overall, which for those of you that were here last month know this same account was up 9.53% or $5,164.49. In just the past 2 months, this account went from up $1,987.01 to up $7,146.85 with no additional capital added for me, which is pretty cool. Keep in mind, with my goal of early retirement at 50 years old, this account will still be locked up until 59 and a half, so it'll have another 9.5 years to continue to grow my money. Next, let's check to see how this account stacks up versus the 3 major indexes. Again, we have the time-weighted and money-weighted returns, and we will use the money-weighted since cash has been added this year, which results in a 20.44% year-to-date return, which is narrowly underperforming the S&P, but is more than doubling the returns of the Dow Jones so far this year. Keep coming back throughout the year to see if we can finish chasing down the S&P and catch up to the NASDAQ before the end of the year. Now, I didn't spend any of my own money this month in this account, but I did add to some of my positions via the drip. Let's see what the drip was able to help me accomplish this month. Here you can see that the drip helped with the following. With VNQ, I added 0.696 shares at an average cost of $84.34, which added $2.63 in forward income. And with VOO, I added 0.223 shares at an average cost of $407.41, which added $4.32 in forward income. In total, I received 0.919 free shares via the drip in July, adding $6.95 in forward income. Next, let's check on the progress of the share counts in this account. Beginning 2023, this account had a total of 149.6 total shares, or an average of 21.37 shares per holding. Concluding June, this same account had a total of 560.72 shares, or an average of 80.103 shares per holding. And because my June recap last month came out late due to my family vacation, there are no changes to the share counts from last month to this month. While the progress in this account will certainly be slower for the rest of the year due to it already being maxed out, the progress to this point has been something to be excited about, and any additional progress will be tracked in these videos for the remainder of the year. Next, let's look at the current yield of this account and the cost basis movements. My yield on cost for this portfolio is sitting at 1.73%, which is in line with last month's yield on cost, again, due to the later review last month. With that being said, you can see here that there are also no cost basis movements month over month either. Next, let's look at the projected annual income for this account. Beginning 2023, I had a yearly projection of $135.64, which comes out to $11.30 per month or 37 cents per day. As of the end of June, those numbers went to a yearly projection of $936.67, which is $78.06 per month or $2.57 per day. And again, the July numbers here are the same since nothing has happened in this account since my last recap. One thing I am excited to keep track of is to see how close we can get to that $1,000 in this account in dividends received by the end of the year, but that's going to take some patience on my end. Next, let's see who paid me in July and how much I made in passive income. Most of my holdings pay out in March, June, September, and December, but I did have some stragglers that insisted on being different and pay out in July, in addition to my interest payment from SPAXX, strictly for my ego. On July 5th, I received $90.93 from VOO that was dripped, getting me 0.223 free shares. Also on July 5th, I received $58.68 from VNQ that was also dripped, getting me 0.696 free shares. And lastly, on July 31st, I received 5 cents as an interest payment on the cash sitting in the account. Next month, in my Roth IRA, it might not be too exciting, but I can promise you that the taxable income will more than make up for that. Next, let's go ahead and add that into the spreadsheet and check to see what that does to the totals and year-over-year growth of the passive income in this account. Here I like to check to see how the growth of my income is going when compared to itself. I started my Roth IRA in August of 2021, so I don't have any 2021 July numbers to report. Moving over to July of 2022, I was able to bring in $11.85 in dividends, which brings us to July of 2023, where I brought in a super exciting $149.66, which is, you ready for this? A 1,163% increase from the previous July. We are now chipping away at $700 in dividends in this account for the year, which I'll for sure be able to reach by the end of Q3, on the way to that $1,000 lofty goal for 2023. Before we go, I like to round up all my portfolios to view them as a whole. First up, let's see the share count improvement and what percentage of my portfolio is now in dividend paying holdings. To start 2023, I had a total of 518.474 shares, which is an average of 23.567 shares, with 53.89% of my investments being in dividend paying holdings. Concluding June, I was up to a total of 973.407 shares, or an average of 42.322 shares, with 93.816% of my investments being in dividend paying holdings. And now I'm at 982.956 total shares, or an average of 442.737 shares per holding, with an exciting 94.089% of my investments being in dividend paying holdings. Next, let's see the projected forward income from all those shares for my portfolio. Beginning the year, I had a yearly projection of $745.30, which comes to $62.11 per month, or $2.04 per day. As of the end of June, those numbers went to a yearly projection of $1,711.49, which is $142.62 per month, or $4.69 per day. And now, concluding July, I have exciting projections of $1,744.82 for the year, which comes out to $145.40 per month, or $4.78 per day. The last thing I wanted to cover is the total passive income received from these portfolios in July, and check for year-over-year growth. Quickly going over them, we have July of 2020, where I made $2.69. Then we moved to July of 2021, where I made $5.50, which was a 104.5% year-over-year increase. Next up was July of 2022, where I made $18.75, which was a 240.9% year-over-year increase. And finally, this year in July, where I made a total of $198.48, which is a modest 958.6% year-over-year increase. If you look down here at the bottom of this chart, you can see that including all of my investment accounts, I have now eclipsed the $1,000 mark, with 5 more exciting months of passive income growth to come. I'm very excited to see where this number lands to conclude 2023, as it's going to set the bar for 2024. If you made it to this point in the video, first I want to say thank you, and also don't forget to leave your July numbers in the comments down below. The journey of a dividend investor is a long one, but if done right, it's almost guaranteed to work if given enough time. These videos do take me quite a good amount of time to put together, so if you want to show your support, make sure you guys are hitting that thumbs up button, and then if you subscribe and ring the bell, you'll stay up with all my future dividend related content. Thank you again for the support, and until next time, see ya.